My colleague from Texas, Mr. Doggett, you are now recognized.
Thank you very much. With the clock ticking on the few days that are remaining to avoid the Republican default on America and the severe economic consequences that will result from failing for the first time in American history to uphold our full faith and credit of the country, this gathering occurs about the woke and the wasteful. Well, I think the real waste here is the waste of time in the Republican willingness to follow the call of President Trump just last night to drive our economy off the cliff. Instead of their much ballyhooed promised budget, they offer us today talk about woke policies. They don't really know what woke means, but it sounds a little bit black, and it appeals to the white nationalists who are so important in their base as they send a message, a signal that they don't want to do anything about historic injustices to people of color. Well, before it's too late, we need Republicans to wake up to the reality, to be aware, to get woke about the true dangers of default, to overcome their fear of providing this committee a budget that outlines the specific cuts that they're demanding to educational opportunity, to environmental law enforcement, to dealing with contaminated food and contaminated air and water, to secure our border, and to counter the growing influence of China. The Republican failure to present the budget that they had promised is not an accident. It's a vital strategy. As one of our colleagues just said this morning, there's not a single line in their bill that cuts veterans' health care. It's just that the effect of their bill is to cut that very health care by about 22% or greater, and it is deliberately hidden. They recognize that if they expose specific cuts like that, they will be rejected by the American people. So without a budget, both Representative Arrington, our chairman, and Speaker McCarthy can engage in a rhetorical sleight of hand, implying that they will not be making these devastating cuts. All they're going to do is return the spending to the level of last October. Well, it is a sleight of hand because we recognize that fiscal year 22 spending levels were set back in 2021, and we're now talking about 2024 spending 3 years later. And there's been a little inflation since then. They don't want to apply that policy to national security because they recognize it would not provide the level of security our country needs. But they are so eager to apply it to healthcare security and educational security that are so very important to our country. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Arrington, I would have a great deal more confidence in your stated claim of restoring fiscal sanity if you had not already committed yourself, along with many of your Republican colleagues, to actually exploding our deficit and our national debt. You're sponsoring yet another massive tax cut that is estimated to cost about $2 trillion or more. And that's the same approach that got us into this mess in the first place, helping those at the very, very top of the economic ladder and adding more and more debt to, as you've done in the past. It was George W. Bush who took us off the course that President Clinton had set with a balanced budget and a path to reducing the debt. Then his failed war in Iraq, so costly in lives and in trillions of dollars, all done on borrowed money. Then the Trump tax giveaway. After their embrace of Trump, the self-described king of debt, they raised the debt limit 3 times. They found now interest in debt that seems, their newfound interest in debt today seems more aimed at destroying health, education, and environmental law enforcement than they never supported in the first place. Let me just ask you, Mr. Gupta, what will be the effect on college students if, as you say, the cuts could be even as much as 33% if the Republican Default on America Act is adopted?
Thank you, Representative Doggett. That's a great question. As you said, we have to make a bunch of assumptions here to figure out how this would work. But if we do assume that there is a cut of that size, that means that low-income students in particular would have limited access to college. There's a number of grants and fundings streams that help them afford college, which, by the way, has gotten increasingly expensive. Most of the folks in this room probably didn't have to face the cost of college that people do today. So it would undermine our future. It would undermine our ability to grow a strong workforce that can compete with the rest of the world.
Thank you.